Out there. Welcome in to another great episode of Let's Talk Local. Today, being brought to you by our friends over at, PSK Co Inc. Right? Yeah, there we go. To my right, your left, across the bow here, we've got George Schwabe and Mr. Paul Katz. Welcome in. Guys.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. And a quick shout out to our friends over at Business Builders, right? That's where we kind of all started rubbing shoulders and getting to know each other.
Yeah. Good place to go for breakfast.
Yeah. Over there at Townie Square, right?
Yeah.
Is that,
There we go. Downtown Libertyville.
Right downtown.
Downtown. It's better when they have the farmers market, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get to go out.
Right out there. It happened to be the same day and go out there and take care of supporting local business.
That's it. All right. So, guys, you all look at and evaluate risk, personal and business risk, right? And before we get into that, let's just get to know you a little bit. Paul, what's your background? Where do you come from?
I'm a Chicagoite. Been in the finance business for 50 plus years.
Wow.
I started at the age of 16 working for a CPA firm.
Oh, good.
And I found out all the intricacies of what accountants do and what they shouldn't do, but do.
That's right.
Further background, graduated from Roosevelt University, CPA, internal audit, tax manager, now a licensed mediator, which I find is very effective when I'm talking to partners or families.
That's it. What part of the Chi? Because if you're from Chicago, there's a street. South Side.
South Shore.
My business partner, Drew Cappuccino, we call him. He's a Chi-Italian from the South Side. So, yeah, that's he's proud of. He says everybody's Italian if you're on the South Side. I don't know what that means.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. That's awesome. And Roosevelt University, huh?
Yes.
You can tell you're not from New York because it's Roosevelt over there.
Started out at DePaul. They wanted me to take a specific series of courses that just didn't agree with me.
God darn Catholics, I'll tell you what.
Catlickers,
that's it. And George, you and I are kindred spirit. You're a bit of a coach, sports coach. Where do you hail from? What happens? What
happens?
Who's George?
George grew up in Morton Grove, Illinois, in a very blue-white or gray collar family. I don't know what you call it. Sports are around my life. I always tell people that I am the only person that I'm aware of who was ever cut from a no-cut flag football team in grade school.
Wow. There's a banner to hang.
And that was and my little brother, who was 2 years younger, was the star quarterback and athlete. So I was shaped differently, maybe 5'8" and all of 220 with lots of Suzy Q's and Hershey bars in my history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it was for my own better health. I will say that motivated me to do things.
Sure.
And to make changes. It got me into coaching, have a knack for understanding people that were just like me. So I've been coaching freshman high school football at Loyola Academy in Wilmette, and have a knack for bringing those who are not ready for prime time up to speed. In our league, everybody wants to kill us, and these kids don't understand that.
Yeah,
that they hate you and they don't know you.
Yeah, did Loyola just win basketball?
We
Ladies
won basketball, and we won the football title
again.
at 8A. The changes in young people is really it's something that motivates you. It makes you feel good inside. They don't have to make the same mistakes that you made.
Yeah.
They can make their own. But what's scary today is young people, especially kids in the north side of the city and in the city that come to school at Loyola, don't have the same street smarts they had before COVID. And that's almost a dangerous place to be.
It is, yeah. It is.
Kids don't talk to other people. They text a lot. We try to get them to actually talk to each other and know each other. And they only have two rules. One is to respect each other and do the right thing. The other one is to respect women.
There you go.
I mean, if we can just get those two down and stay off those phone things.
Yeah, we're like cave people. We've gone back to written with pictures, except we're not putting it on the wall. We're putting it on our hashtag pocket computer, right? That's crazy.
Wild.
So
that works.
Those are two different backgrounds.
Way different.
How did you guys meet? How did you meld to make a PSK company?
I think Mr. Biscuit over here, the Tom and Jerry show, is what happens.
Well, if I could, bottle what we did to meet, I'd be a very wealthy man.
That's it.
I was going to take over an insurance agency, and George was one of the insurance brokers. And for one reason or another, the agency and I didn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
But George decided to come with me to deal in various tax sheltered plans and provide a true benefit to people, not just selling product.
Right.
We never just sell product. From my perspective, I ask a lot of questions, and I am not known for my fact.
That's
the south side of it. That's that Chi-Italian I was talking about earlier.
In my prior life, I've been told that I've mellowed. So,
yeah.
Georgia is the personable guy, and I'm the technical guy, and it just seemed to be a great fit.
Yeah.
1993.
Way back then.
That far.
Yeah.
Back in the 1900s.
One of the things that I've always said is I can trust Paul with my last dollar, which is saying something in today's world.
Yeah.
We work well because he is a gut feeling kind of guy, and I'm so nice that I kind of trust first always. And I've learned that is not necessarily the best thing always.
Yeah.
And he's only been wrong once in all this period of time.
So he's a bit of the German Shepherd. You're the Labradoodle.
Oh man, you got that. Hey, I'm happy to see everybody.
I like that analogy.
And that's true. We've been told that we are Tom and Jerry, though, in front of people. A person will answer a question that's presented by Paul or myself. And because I had the first meeting with them before they met with both of us, I will infer, and never should assume, as we know what that means, that I understand what they meant, but I didn't hear the words. He heard the words and has no preconceived notions with relationship or knowing the person.
Sure.
That's come up a lot in our visits, and it happens if we're in one place for an hour. For sure, it'll happen. And then it's the Tom and Jerry show. Well, what did you really mean about that? And what about this? And I have to learn how to shut up, which is very difficult for me.
Yeah, that's tough for you.
Start looking at the 2 ears
Right.
and the one mouth. And I've been working on that for a long time.
Well, what I love about you guys is that, right? You guys are, when we're talking about personal risk and business risk, people don't think that way anymore, right? It's just like, well, I'll get a new job. Well, I'll do, I got a 401, and it's just, they kind of bounce all over and really not taking a look at risk. How many small business owners do you guys know that are like, what do you mean? What do you mean risk? I'm good at plumbing. I'm getting a truck. I'm getting in debt. I'm plumbing. I own my own business now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plumbers, I'm just using that, right?
People don't recognize risk.
Yeah, right. And that's a weird thing to me, that they don't, right? It is just there's risk in everything you do.
There's a perceived assumption with people. I know this guy has been a friend of mine for 25 years, and he's going to steer me the right way. The problem is the friend who's advising them may not be asking the appropriate questions because they don't want to interfere with the
Right.
friendship.
Right.
And there's more of a tendency to accept what's being said at face value
Yeah.
rather than get into the scope of what's really being said. Well, what do you mean? You're in great shape. When was the last time you reviewed your insurance? Well, when I was 20. Well, you're married now. You got 3 kids. 2 of them might be going to college. One's going to go to the Army. How are you planning for that?
Right.
Or you have longevity in your family?
Yeah, and these are things that we just we don't think about, right? And I think society's kind of built that in the fact that it's like, you came to work for me at Corporation A,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got we're going to pay half of your insurance. We're going to give you, there used to be a pension, but those are things of the past now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're an auto worker, but good luck anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, or you now have a 401k. Well, what do I get to invest in? The 401k.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
And how many people out there have you guys found that just financially speaking, left a job, got fired from a job, whatever, and just have money floating out there that is, they're like, well, I worked over at Corporation A. I don't work there anymore. That money's in a 401k, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Does it happen often?
More so than I'd like to admit.
Yeah.
Again, it's this false sense of security.
Yeah.
People don't really review annually what their 401k looks like. They see numbers, and unfortunately, you can't even understand the paperwork that goes out with the 401ks.
Right.
Oh yeah, I got 12% yield. Well, did you? Is that gross or net?
Yes.
What do you mean gross or net? Well, there's charges that go along with these investments. It's not just a pretty face.
All right. And that's and those are things where people just don't think through.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're sitting here with Paul and George, with PSK. If people want to know more about what you do, how do they get in touch with you?
It's PSK, the word
and
Co Incorporated.
Yep. So if you look right down here, you'll see it scrolling across there. You can visit it, pskandcoinc.com.
Yep.
And you can set up a time. Is there a number they can call?
Sure. 847-309-9785. Or on Paul's line, it's 847-601-8974.
Call in the middle of the night.
Text us, call us. You can email us.
Yeah.
It's George Paul at
Yeah.
PSK Co Inc.
So a lot of the people listening here this afternoon are business owners, small business owners, right? Walk me through kind of an idea or a conversation on, without getting product specific, because I know you really can't, right? As we're just kind of hypothetically talking, some of the risks that a small business owner like myself will use. We got the three partners, and everybody's a third, and then it's no employees, just us. So as you're talking about a small mom and pop type business, what risk?
I'll
What's
start
going on
off
there?
before we go to that.
Yeah.
You're meeting with me first.
Okay.
We're going to talk and just kind of find out who you are,
Yeah.
where you came from, kind of like we started the show.
Okay.
I like to know about who people are and where they came from and how I can be of help. Maybe not even anything to do with what we do, but more with what you do.
Yeah.
I've been in the people service business my whole life, even when I was younger. I'm a people pleaser. It gives me great joy. That being said, we get to the next step, and I said, I think it's time to bring in Paul, my partner.
Okay.
And I'll turn it over to him now because he'll answer the question about.
Yeah, so you found
risk
out.
assessment.
You found out. Been married 32 years. Got 4 kids. 3 of them are out of the nest. I've got one that's in high school, still in the nest. My business partners have kids that are still in school.
Mhm.
They're much younger than I am. Anyway, and married. Everybody's married, for a while, and now we've got this crazy business. 216 Creator Studios that is blowing up, but nobody's ever really talked to us about risk or whatever.
I should preface what I'm saying to every single customer or potential client is, I'm not here to be your friend. And it's a very important statement.
Right.
Because I may get more honest answers, or I might get answers that will allow me to do greater probing. It normally starts out with, what's your concern? And they'll say, well, paying taxes. Or they may say, well, my partner's 25 years older than me.
Yeah.
Or I can't stand his spouse. I don't want her coming into the business. Or they're all out to get me.
Right.
And that type of question goes into a myriad of different areas. We talk about family, we talk about longevity, we talk about, do you really like your partners or not? What are they contributing to the business? And we do this on an individual basis to begin with.
Sure.
Then we bring in the partners.
All together. Okay.
All together.
Yeah.
That's where the mediation comes in. Because I have a tendency of asking uncomfortable questions, but it's necessary because I can't find any solutions or suggestions that are going to benefit you if I don't know what you're like.
Yeah.
And with that theory or practice, I will keep asking the same question 15 different ways because I know I'm not getting the true answer.
Right.
That's where my experience comes in for 50 years in the financial areas.
Nice. And I like that because growing up, I've been in the banking industry for years and years and years and years. And the bank financial advisors, nothing wrong with them, good people, good friends of mine, are always like, oh, I want to be invited to your wedding and your kid's bar mitzvah, and I'm your buddy, right? And it's important to have that trust and a good relationship. But I'm not saying anything. But you come right off the bat and say, listen, I'm not your friend. You didn't say you didn't care. You said, I'm not your friend.
Right.
Right. And I love that tactic because it's like, wait a minute. He wants what's best for me, for my business, for my family. And he's not going to, sugarcoat it.
I'm not known for my tact.
Right. That's why you have George.
That's exactly why I have George.
He's softened over the years, believe it or not. Having a license plate on his Porsche with said Pappas, but other people have said
Thought that was your
pompous
last name.
with a big A after it,
That's it.
you know, and that's happened more than once, and he's admitted to that. So you're able to deal with sometimes difficult personalities
Yeah.
because you understand who they are, how they think, and how to help them. It's about helping people. And I think one of the greatest stories that we can bring is it's solution driven. So it's not one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly we have products that we offer and they help to solve problems, but not always. What happens if that solution that is a product doesn't make economic sense? An example, we met with some business owners and they were different ages by 20 years,
Okay.
difference in age,
Mhm.
which is not uncommon, we're finding. But what happens is your health changes as you get older.
Sure does.
And sometimes you have a blip when you're younger. And all of a sudden, that product that would have made things easier financially becomes, it's just not a solution. It's just too expensive. We wouldn't do it for ourselves, so why should we ask you to do it? Paul came up with a solution for that group to buy a building for their business, get an SBA loan, house themselves in it, rent out the other half of it. And okay, we don't sell SBA loans. We don't sell real estate.
Right.
It was the best solution for them as a group. And then on the healthier people, we were able to help with some products. The other side would be reviewing insurance with somebody and said, hey, listen, I'm getting up there in age. The business has slowed and I don't want to keep sucking on my money.
Yeah.
But I got $700 a month going in this life insurance stuff for the last 30 years. And you merely ask them, what do you want to do with it? Well, I want to pay when I die. I said, well, it's pretty much paid up. How about if we help you make changes in that policy and free up that $700 a month, and those policies will in effect pay for themselves because they're with a good insurance carrier and the values are such that they'll internally pay for themselves. And you're not asking for anything from anybody.
Right. And those are things as a business owner I don't even know exist because I'm worried about making sure I get a new microphone and my P&L is balanced or whatever, right?
That's him right there.
And there's just no way that I have the knowledge or breadth of knowledge to even go, what? Wait a minute. What? I could do that? Yeah, that's crazy.
In some of our podcasts, which one is fairly lengthy, it kind of explains the whole process. One of the things we have found is that people need to rely on other people.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we get very comfortable with our attorney, our financial planner, investment advisor, accountant, and their jobs are all specific, but not in our mind. We think our attorney's handling everything. We think our accountant knows everything and will help us with tax planning. Probably not. They're too busy doing compliance work. And we also think our financial planner and investment specialist is doing everything that they can and looking out for us in every way they can. And it's impossible.
Yeah.
We gave up those licenses 40 years ago because we realized that that's a specialty. We stay in our own lane. We refer out to people that we trust. And that way, other advisors are not afraid of us.
Yeah.
I mean, we have literally a handful of licensed insurance people as clients for the products that we offer that we can then refer to them on how they get fed. That's big boy, big girl stuff.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's what you should be doing. And I know I have a problem with somebody who tries to say I can do it all. I get concerned.
Sure.
because I don't know how you can physically do it. Mentally, I don't know how you can do it.
So your quarterback can't play defensive line,
That's it.
right?
Unless he wants to get killed.
Right, right.
I mean, that's true.
And I love that, because now when you meet with people, whether it's personal or business, you don't ever have to say no.
That's correct.
You say, I got a guy, or I got a gal, or here, let's talk with Julie or Bill or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
That's their lane. We can set that up.
Mm-hmm. That's
cool.
Oftentimes I guess a private second opinion, and we also do consult.
Yeah,
and charge a fee. It's not a big thing, to give you the way it is, to tell you the way it really is and show you why.
Yeah.
And then offer a solution to you. My brother and or my best friend is my insurance person, and doggone it, I got to do business with them for everything. Okay. We're sensitive to that.
Yeah.
And that's all right. We don't believe in replacing insurance in general. Sometimes it makes sense, but not too often.
Right.
But what happens is that people have to be aware of where they are and what they have. And oftentimes brokers or agents can only offer a very small, select group of products, where the world is our oyster and we know where to go for who, for what their health is, their age, and their needs, along with their budget.
Yeah.
And
That's important.
we don't practice square peg round hole.
Oh,
Tell me more about that.
It's basically, you have normal, the principal, the Allstate, State Farm, all of these different companies out there that have a select number of products.
Correct.
And they frown upon their agents because they're captive, selling anything other than their product line.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because people, the Generation Xers, right? So people in their mid to late 40s and 50s, and maybe now even early 60 or just at 60, grew up kind of in the leave it to Beaver type philosophy. It's like, oh no, Jerry's our insurance guy, and we see him at church, and he said we're good.
And my question to that statement is, when was the last time Jerry did a review?
Right. But right. So I mean, that's where, and now we're dealing with the younger generation who's like, I don't know, there was an app online. They take it out of my account. I guess I'm okay. Right.
Wow. That's true.
Yeah.
Very.
And what you guys are going to do is meet with those people and go, hey, let's just peel this onion back a little bit. And when I was doing mortgages for banks, that's what, hey, I need to refinance. And I would always say, well, what are we trying to do financially? And it threw them off all the time. Well, what do you mean? Well, I mean, what are we trying to do financially? You're going to invest $3,000 to $4,000 in costs here. Sometimes it was just better to take that $3,000 or $4,000, put it right to principal reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Once I found out what they were trying to do financially. But so many people that I talk to on the personal side, on the business side, don't know what they want to do financially. How do you guys get people to go, blah, 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 this is what I'm trying to describe, or this is what I need to do financially?
Through questions.
Okay.
The probing questions that will not accept the initial answers being totally correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Very simple. The person who tells me that he has an insurance man, there is no impetus for the current insurance man of today to come back and review annually.
Sure.
or every 5 years or whatever, because once the sale's made, they don't get renewal like they used to.
Right.
So there's no impetus for them to do anything because they think you're done.
Yeah.
I don't know of an insurance man recently that calls up and says, so what's the changes in your life? And I don't think you're going to call them up and say, hey, Paul, I need more insurance because I had a kid. Really?
Right.
I just don't see it happening.
Or I'm now on prescribed medicine, or say, right, or something.
Sure.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
there's life changes.
Oh, sure.
Better yet, we just celebrated my dad's 85th birthday. Oh, there's longevity in your family?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Well, this term insurance that you have isn't going to support the longevity issues.
Sure. And now there's so many different layers of that longevity, right? I mean,
Sure. Quality of
there's
life, right?
quality of life. There's the extended stay. I don't even know what it's called.
Whatever they are,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, they pop up all over everywhere.
Sure.
You're a millionaire. You're making a long-term care facility.
You're right. No,
Yeah.
seriously.
And then it's like, hey, it's $8,000 a month to stay here.
That's right.
Well,
How do you do it?
yeah.
The questions certainly are important. The ostrich is very true in the world. Put your head in the sand and nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that has gotten very, very large numbers of people in trouble.
Sure.
And they get to a point where they have fewer choices. So are you better off with more choices and having the knowledge about it? Or are you better off putting your head in the sand and whatever happens, happens? And most of the time it's not what you wished.
Yeah.
That's where we have value. We have the value of reviewing things. I talk to a guy that's pretty well off, almost earning $700,000-800,000 a year. And he's got all these assets. And I looked at his personal liability insurance and his homeowners and auto and all that. And I looked and I said, hey, where's your umbrella liability policy? I don't sell that. But guess what? You got young drivers. Guess what? They slide on ice into a car full of other students. And it wasn't their fault, but it don't matter. There's an attorney out there going to try to make it.
That's right.
Fault.
That's right.
And then if you don't have sufficient coverage, which in this case they did not, or what happens if somebody hits you and they've got the minimum liability coverage in the state of Illinois or property coverage? Did you know you can have that coverage on your policy for a very small cost to match what you would want for them to have available for you if you were the problem causer?
Yeah.
And these things don't cost a lot. And why brokers or agents wouldn't offer that? First of all, they get paid on commission. So why wouldn't you do that? It's a disservice to people. That's the kind of thing I get into. And I said, let's look at your benefit package at work. What's there? Because you'll say, well, how your health is a little, you started taking what for what? Oh, that cancer thing, they cut it out. It's no problem. Oh, okay. I don't know that individual insurance companies are going to feel that way, how they're going to feel about it. But your group plan offers you some opportunities here to buy insurance at a very reasonable rate. So maybe you ought to take advantage of that first.
Wow, that's good. Yeah.
I don't get anything from that other than knowing I did the right thing.
Right.
That's what we do.
That's huge.
You do the right thing.
And so many people are like, no, because that's just going to take this much out of my check. And that's huge.
It's the path of least resistance.
Right. I mean, I've lost a couple of business partners along the way, one to cancer, one to COVID. And the one with COVID life was good. He had just switched jobs. So we weren't at a place where this could support a couple families. And he was between jobs and he opted to stop paying on his life insurance because he was between jobs. Just had made the transition, passed away the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. His life insurance at the new company started December 1st.
Isn't that swell?
So here he left, his kids were grown out of the house, left his wife with, and we didn't have a key man, or we nobody came and talked to us at that point about risk, about, hey, what if,
Right.
Yeah. And so it
Mm-hmm.
opens your eyes a lot when it happens to you. But in your world, it has to be a lot of people calling you up and going, oh, hey, I just had this happen. Is it too late?
That used to happen more often
Yeah.
in 25 years ago. I've always heard people say, well, now I can think about insurances. I'm cancer free finally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to maybe wait, or if you have to have it immediately, it's a little costly, but you can only get so much. And it'll be from 8 different sources. And they're going, what? Yeah. But then you can, if you're still doing well, then you can get in the traditional insurance markets for that purpose. We need to be driven by fear as human beings, not just how much I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Greed, and there's something about fear and losing that affects us right away instead of the upside. And that's different.
Yeah.
We don't deal from the standpoint of fear. When we do an analysis, we come up with suggestions.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this? Are you aware of that? It's a matter of helping people understand that they do have choices. And some of their concerns can be addressed with their choices. Whether it's through us or someone else, that's their choice also.
Yeah.
Again, it's the factor that if I'm not here to be your friend, I'm going to be more objective. I'll be your friend afterwards because you'll think I did such a wonderful
Right.
job.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm just irreplaceable at that point.
Right.
Just kidding.
I can see that it might be time for you to recognize some of your sponsors.
Well, we always are enjoying our sponsors. Of course, today, PSK Co. That's, you guys are the owners. We're here talking about your business, which is great. So if people want to reach out to you, how do they do that?
They can find us on our website, pskandcoinc.com, or call us.
Yeah.
847-309-9785 for George. And for Paul, 847-601-8974. We use our cell phones because we want you to call us.
Yep.
That's the personal touch.
And unless you're doing a podcast or you're on the sidelines, you're probably going to pick up. You can look right down here.
Yep.
There's the website as well. And I think that's awesome. And the incredible thing I think about what you guys do is, I'm going to go back to that story where you helped a corporation or a company buy, you're like, listen, what you should do is buy some real estate. That risk analysis is so huge that may never have crossed their mind. Maybe it did, but they're like, I don't know. But then the way you guys lay it out for them is like, here, A, B, C, D, E. And if you do this, I mean, it's going to be great. So it's not, a lot of people will shy away and go, oh, insurance guys, hey, oh, annuities or whatever, right? Right. But you take a look at the whole gamut and say, let's take a look at this risk analysis, and maybe if it moved this direction, this is the best thing for you.
A lot of financial planners and investment specialists, Paul will look at what they're invested in and the whole plan itself.
Yep.
For whatever they have, and look at their amount of risk that they're taking inside of that related to their age and their liquidity, so that they know that someone else has eyes on this. Now, we don't sell this stuff. We know
Sure.
this stuff. It's important for people to be aware if they're out of balance at any particular point in life, especially when you have markets that are going up and down. And as Paul has said, this huge market swing that's gone up is on a handful of companies, not all of them. So you have to be exactly in the right place at the right time, which is the same thing as being
Sure.
lucky as heck. But what are you going to do about that? So are you really prepared? Why aren't you getting 29% when the market's up 29%? Because you weren't in it. But you shouldn't have been in it because of your age. Or maybe your investment advisor was selling mutual funds only, which a lot do, and or doesn't manage stock portfolios,
Yeah.
which fewer do. And then you got to trade options on those. You got to know what that is. You personally don't want to do that. You want somebody who knows what they're doing to do that. And what about this crypto stuff? We've got one advisor who's been on the ground floor since it started, but was at the options market trading on this stuff for many years before those markets changed. And all of a sudden he is very interested in this, and he'll tell you whether you should even go near it and what kind. There's all kinds of stuff in that crypto market. What's a hedge for the future? I don't know. You can buy life insurance policies today. What?
Yeah.
Speaking of life insurance,
Yeah.
we did a review for a closely held large family company, and they were paying in excess of $1 million a year in premium. Upon review, which by the way, their buddy sold them.
Yeah. Good guy.
Tax-
Jerry. Yeah.
Tax
He made the corporate secretary the owner and beneficiary of the policies.
Never looked.
And there was no family relationship there.
She had millions of dollars in her pocket and didn't even know it.
Wowzer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank God nobody had died.
All right.
We at least, found something like that.
Holy buckets.
Oh yeah, these stories get better and better. But
Sure.
we don't have that much time.
Right.
Interestingly, we were talking about key man and the buy sells and everything for the family owners, and they wanted to bring their attorneys in. Okay, $700, $700 an hour
Yeah.
per attorney,
Jeez.
and we couldn't do it with just one.
Of course.
We needed many, and they had the audacity to ask or to say, "What do we need you for? We do all this." My response was somewhat censored
Yeah.
because, unfortunately, sometimes these egos are much bigger than they should be for the client.
Oh yeah.
And it's humorous yet disappointing to see that these advisors hold themselves in such high regard that they're not willing to look at the everyday problems.
Right.
I put it to clients, I know an awful lot about everything financially, but I'm not going to hold myself out to be a specialist anymore because I can't keep up.
Yeah, I love it.
That's why I'll make a recommendation. Go to your accountant or your attorney and let them do the fine work.
And sometimes you catch a big fish on a worm. And that's what a lot of these financial advisors, salespeople do, right? It's like, well, I wasn't expecting this one, but yee-hoo! Look what I dragged into the boat. I just got to get this wrapped up before they start asking questions.
That's
Right.
That's what's called the sales
Yeah.
process instead of the professional sales approach.
Yeah.
And that's a slowdown. Don't look at low-hanging fruit because it may not make sense long-term. Short-term, sure, you make money. They got some coverages or whatever.
Yeah.
But where is it really going? And how long do they need this stuff?
Right.
What are they using it for? And there's all kinds of things that are going on that are out there in the business world, at least, and families. Hey, how are you going to give your money away? You owned a business, now you sold it. You got your son and daughter that are going to stay in the business. What about the other 3 kids?
Yeah.
How are you going to treat them? Whoops. Gifting stock.
What?
That should be a topic in and of above itself.
No, that could be a different show for a different day.
Yeah, it should be. And Paul came up with a solution. And then about 3 years later, the IRS came up with a ruling on some of this stuff. And he was on target ahead of time because he knew what he was talking about. You know, if you're going to give stock to somebody and you give it to the kid, don't think you have the spouse that they get divorced, that they're not going to wind up with stock.
So here's the best thing about you guys, other than your strikingly great looks,
And my charm.
Man, this guy is really looking for it.
is over 77 years of experience between the two of you. You've seen it all. The highs, the lows, the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs. You've seen what works. You've seen what doesn't work. You're in tune with what's happening today with products and strategies that make sense for people, families, and businesses. And if you're not using these guys, or if you haven't had a conversation, and just have a conversation, it's amazing, right? What they can open your eyes to, what they can help your business, what they can help your family with, is worth its weight in gold, literally. Right?
That 40-minute free consultation, everybody today says, hey, first time in is free.
Complimentary.
It's complimentary.
Yeah.
The process is there something here that we may be able to even help with? And then is it something that Paul needs to be involved with?
Right.
Sometimes it's not, and it's an individual, and I'll just share information with him and we'll look at it holistically internally, and other times it'll be different.
I love it.
Almost always with a business, he's going to be involved because he's going to be looking at tax returns. Once we start, want to see what's been going on and what type of entities you are and why. And if you don't have the answer as to why you're such and such or such and such, that's a little bit of a red flag, because that's a lack of knowledge that you should have.
That's what Google said.
Well, my accountant said this is what it is.
I'm incorporated in Delaware.
George was talking to me on the way up here about a client of his that made a statement about, I was right about something. George might want to just embellish a little bit.
One quick story.
And it's very quick. They had a technology consulting firm. And everybody making a lot of money back in about 2000, 2001. And I mean, everybody, all the players were six-figure.
Yeah, that was the
plus.
tech era. Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
And Paul had made some recommendations to slow down with your spending and stock it away for yourself and watch your taxes and watch what's happening and going down the road, because things change. A lot of things did change. And there was an advisor in there who was a tax attorney who was in conflict with the accountant and led them down a path of everything is fine. They went BK, bankrupt. They had to sell their house. They had some cash reserves because they listened to Paul a little bit.
Sure.
But they'd have been a heck of a lot better off if they would have looked at the total plan. And they paid for it. Yeah. I don't like those results. Could it have been avoided? Absolutely. Just is what it is.
It is what it is.
People don't listen. So stories being stories, there are always good stories on the other side of that too.
Listen, I can't thank you guys enough for
This was
peeling some
great.
time out here this afternoon to chat with us on Let's Talk Local. Thanks for coming in the studio. Thanks for doing everything you do, guys. And again, if anybody wants to get in touch with you to get that risk analysis, how do they do that?
George, 847-601-8974, and Paul, 847-601-8974. Either one on the risk assessment.
Love it. Or go to PSK and the word and COINC.com.
Beautiful.
There we go. Rob, it's here at Let's Talk Local. Remember, hey, it's your dime. So let's talk local.